Hey guys, this is Mrs. Thompson. Today we are learning how to draw the Stonehenge. The first two lines we're going to make are going to be drawn very lightly because we will eventually be erasing them. So let's get started. I want you to find almost halfway between the middle and the bottom and draw a light, kind of straight line there. It's very hard to see. I might make mine a little bit darker just so you can see it, but it should be a very light line because you're going to erase it. This is where our stones are going to sit. The next line is going to be a curved line from here to here. So I'm going to start with a line starting about right here, and it just curves across the paper to the other side. It does not have to be perfect. So we will eventually be erasing these two lines. That's why I drew them so lightly. Now we're going to start drawing the stones. I'm going to start with this center stone, and you'll notice it's not perfect. It's kind of irregular or organic because it is something found in nature, so it is not perfect. Please don't stress over making perfectly straight lines. They need to actually be a little bit bumpy. So I'm going to start right in the middle, making the largest stone, and you can just kind of sketch it out. You can curve the edges a bit so the corners aren't perfect corners. Okay, now I'm going to add 3 more stones on each side, so 6 more total. Let's add a smaller one over here. It's going to be a little bit smaller than this one. And then another over here. And you'll notice it's following this curve, so it should only be as tall as the curve. And another, this should be the smallest one because it's further away from you. And let's do the same thing to the other side. So this one is just slightly smaller than the center stone. Here's another, and finally the last one. Okay. Go ahead and try it yourself. Then we're going to trace over these stones with Sharpie just so you can see them better, and you're going to be erasing this line and this line. So let's go ahead and grab a Sharpie and start tracing these roughly. Remember, you don't want to make perfectly straight lines. You want them to be organic. Now I'm doing this on watercolor paper, and watercolor paper has something called a tooth on it, just meaning it has texture that holds on to the water really well. And if you see any changes you want to make, you should make them now before you go over them in Sharpie. I'm also going to make the top pieces that connect a couple of the stones. Now I only have 3 top stones. You can do as many or as little as you want, but I think 3 is a good number. So first I'm going to attach this stone to this stone. You can do this in pencil if you'd like, if you don't think you're ready to do it in Sharpie. I'm going to connect this stone over here, and then let's add another one over here. Alright, now it's really starting to look like the Stonehenge. Next thing we have to do is add some 3D definition. So 3-dimensional or 3D means that it's something you can touch. So like this pen is 3D, right? Because we're touching it. It has 3 dimensions. It's not flat. We want to make our artwork look like it's not flat. We want to be able to see the sides. Now you'll notice the center stone does not have any dimension, and that's because you're looking straight on. But every other stone does have a little bit of form or 3D-ness to it. So I'm going to start over here with this small stone and just add the side. Same thing over here. Add the side of the stone. Add the side of the stone. On the other side, we need to add the 3D parts to the other side of the stone. So, again, you can do this in pencil. If you don't trust yourself, you have to do it in Sharpie. And then I'm going to do something called hatching inside each of those 3D spots I just made. So hatching basically means lines. So I'm just adding lines inside each of those little 3D sections I made. And this kind of draws your eye backwards so you can see the dimension and the perspective. Because we're drawing this as if you were standing like right in front of the center stone. I also need to add some dimension to these top stones. Just a couple lines will do it. And then some more of those hatching lines. Now I'm going to start adding the inside details. So these are super old rocks. They're not perfectly smooth. They have some roughness and some shadows on them. So that's what we're going to do next. I'm just going to add some organic shapes just to make these look kind of old. We don't want them to look super perfect. There's no right or wrong way to do this. We're just aging the stone a bit. You don't have to follow me exactly. And you can decide if you want to use a regular Sharpie marker or if you want to switch to a Sharpie pen. I should have both available for you. And I'm going to grab my Sharpie pen. Let's see. Okay, so this is a Sharpie pen. It just has a super fine tip, and it will help you get all those teeny tiny details. Now inside each of these little spots I made, I'm just going to do some more of that hatching, which is straight lines. This does take some time, so don't rush it. Now that I've added these little shadow lines, I want to just do some more lines just to rough it up. So some dots and maybe some straight lines. Don't stress about where you put them too much. This should be a really quick step. No right or wrong way to do it. And maybe a couple dots. Don't press too hard with the marker because we don't want to break the marker. Don't forget these top stones. All right. And there you have the drawing for the Stonehenge. Remember, we will be going over everything with an eraser. So you can erase everything you don't want to keep. And there you have your drawing portion of your Stonehenge complete.